Chapter 55-47. You'd better retract your murderous aura. Haven't you noticed that wherever you go, the temperature is very low? Even the water droplets have frozen. Tang Guo followed Qing Hao's gaze and looked at the big fish tank in the office. The fish in the tank were all frozen. She felt that the fish were still alive, so she retracted her murderous aura. Qing Hao walked to the fish tank and placed his palm on it. A force came out of his palm and melted all the ice in a short while. The fish in the tank swam freely again. Fortunately, it melted in time. If it had been any longer, these fish would have died. Tang Guo mocked him in her heart. What a hypocrite. It was her first time seeing such a pretentious and disgusting person. If he was a merciful person, he would not have taken the soul of an ordinary dead person. He would not have let this soul suffer the pain of losing a loved one, and he would not have nurtured it into a ghost king. In his eyes, all living things were ants. He had done evil things, but he still wanted everyone to have a good impression of him and think that he was a merciful person. Take me to the door of the spiritual realm. Tang Guo urged. She really couldn't wait to go over. She really wanted to beat Qing Hao up right now. She wanted to beat his hypocritical face until it was swollen and torn apart. She was full of murderous aura, so Qing Hao did not suspect Tang Guo's anger at all. He only thought that she could not wait to deal with Xing Qin. He walked in front with his back facing Tang Guo. There was a smile on his face. He still looked like a spring breeze. Tang Guo followed behind him. When she saw him jump lightly, she also jumped and quickly followed. After leaving the city, the dark clouds in the sky dispersed. The sun came out again and shone on the building. The air warmed up and the water in the fountain melted quickly. The people who were running back to get more clothes also looked at the sun and the sky strangely when they felt the warmth. Everyone was puzzled. If they had not experienced this scene, they would not have believed that such a miraculous thing could happen. Back at Tang Guo's side, she followed Qing Hao over the mountains. After floating for about 2 hours, they finally arrived at the foot of a tall mountain. The mountain was steep and a little gloomy. This is the location of the Spirit Realm Gate. Let's join hands and see if we can open it. I've tried before, and I can't force it open by myself. Qing Hao said. Tang Guo also felt that this place was indeed different. There were basically no insects, fish, birds, or beasts. Judging from this geographical location, ordinary people passing through here might encounter some small dangers. At first glance, the scenery here was clearly not bad, but there were no traces of human footsteps, which was very telling. If someone were to pass by the lake next to it, many lives would be lost. The formation has been set up. Use all your strength to send your power inside. Don't relax. Whether or not we can succeed depends on whether our power is enough. Tang Guo did not hesitate. Instead, she seemed to be impatient. When she channeled her power into the formation, she felt a strong resistance from inside. She didn't stop and continued to transfer power. Of course, she wasn't going all out. If she used all her strength, she was afraid that she would frighten Qing Hao. Qing Hao, on the other hand, was quite hardworking. He tried his best to transfer power into the gate. In fact, he was more eager than Tang Guo to open the gate to the spiritual realm. At this moment, he didn't hold back at all. Chapter 55-48. He didn't know that Tang Guo only sped up when she saw that he was almost done. Half an hour later, the door to the spiritual realm finally loosened and opened slowly. At this moment, Qing Hao shouted, "Go in quickly. We can't open it completely with our strength." Tang Guo did as she was told and floated in. Qing Hao followed closely behind. When he felt the soul power of the spiritual realm, he couldn't control his excitement. His hard work paid off. He finally opened the door to the spiritual realm and came to the spiritual realm. Xing Chen probably didn't expect that he would come in this way, right? He wondered how Shang Shui was doing. Where is Xing Chen? Tang Gui didn't control her evil spirit anymore. The evil spirit stirred the surrounding vegetation and frightened the insects, fishes, birds, and beasts. Perhaps the plants in the spiritual realm were different from those in the human realm. The temperature here was very low, but the water didn't freeze. Even the vegetation wasn't frozen. I have a cultivation method here that can help you absorb the soul power of the spiritual realm. As long as you absorb the soul power according to the method, no matter where Xing Chen is in the spiritual realm, he will come. When he comes, you will be able to deal with him. Tang Gui took the cultivation method that Qing Hao gave her. There was no problem with it. It could indeed help her absorb the soul power of the spiritual realm quickly. She didn't stand on ceremony and started reading it. Qing Hao was very satisfied. I've already helped you come to the spiritual realm. I have no obligation to help you with other things. You and Xing Chen can settle the matter between you. Okay. Then I'm leaving. He had to hide and recuperate. When the two were fighting, he would have a chance to take Shang Shui away. You're leaving just like that? Tang Gui's voice suddenly sounded. It sounded a little strange. Qing Hao turned back in confusion. Before he could ask anything, he was pressed to the ground by Tang Gui's soul suppression. His knees sank deep into the ground, almost burying his waist. Qing Hao was suppressed to the point that he could not speak. He did not even have the chance to use his secret technique. He heard the sound of approaching footsteps and raised his head with difficulty. He saw Tang Gui slowly walking in front of him and squatting down with a smile on her face. Do you think I'm a fool? You caused me to lose my life. You caused me to experience the pain of losing my loved ones again and again in the virtual world. We'll settle this score slowly. Tang Gui's fair palm landed on the top of Qing Hao's head. Under Qing Hao's horrified expression, she forcibly extracted his soul. Qing Hao screamed in pain, his face twisted in pain. Tang Gui pinched Qing Hao's soul and looked at him struggling in her hand. She sneered, now you know the pain of being manipulated by others. What do you want? Tang Gui's gaze fell on Qing Hao's body, and a hammer appeared in her left hand. As Qing Hao shouted, no, the hammer smashed Qing Hao's soulless body to pieces on the ground. What kind of divine weapon was that? Qing Hao was shocked and terrified. This was clearly the soul of an ordinary person. How could this be? How could she have such a powerful technique? Her soul strength could directly suppress him. He had no way to resist. Her soul strength was unimaginably strong. Could it be that she was not an ordinary person? Was she the reincarnation of a powerful person's sealed power and he accidentally bumped into her? Chapter 55-49. Tang Gui didn't care about Qing Hao. She took out a shovel and buried his smashed body with mud. Finally, she stepped on it twice, which made him mad. It would take many years to cultivate such a strong physical body, but she smashed it into pieces with a hammer. He, Qing Hao, swore that as long as he could escape alive, he would definitely take revenge on her, making her suffer forever and never reincarnate. You hate me so much just because I destroyed a physical body. I haven't even settled the score with you. Tang Gui pinched Qing Hao's soul and placed a strong restriction on it. Unless someone was stronger than her, they would not be able to break it. Qing Hao felt that he was completely bound, and despair rose in his heart. Tang Gui flipped through the book on soul absorption that Qing Hao gave her. As she read, she began to absorb Qing Hao's soul power. Anyway, she only needed to leave a little bit of consciousness. It would be a waste to leave the rest of the soul power on him. No, Qing Hao shouted and began to struggle, but it was to no avail. As his soul power was gradually drained, half of it was gone. He finally begged for mercy. Tang Guo ignored him and continued to absorb. When the other party's soul power was only ordinary, she finally stopped. Qing Hao was very weak now, and it was difficult for him to speak. His fighting spirit was completely gone. I'm going to find Xingchen first. You play by yourself. Tang Guo turned and smiled at Qing Hao. This is your chance to escape. Qing Hao moved his lips but did not say anything. He just watched her leave. His soul trembled, and regret rose in his heart. He had provoked a demon. Unfortunately, he realized it too late. He had no chance. Even if he could escape, when would he be able to take revenge? If he could save his life, he would be lucky if she did not cause trouble for him. Even though he knew that the chances of escaping were very small, Qing Hao still chose to find a chance to hide. As for Meng Shangxue, he could not even protect himself now. He had already forgotten about that. But on the way to escape, he thought of it again. If he went to find Meng Shangxue when Tang Guo found Xingchen and the two of them were fighting, he might have a chance of survival. Yes, he was going to look for Shangxue. Tang Guo didn't go straight to Xingchen. Instead, she followed her original plan and found a mountain top to absorb soul power. At the same time, he released Song Wen from the jade pendant. She gave Song Wen 2 cultivation methods. One was the one that Qing Hao gave her, and the other was her own cultivation method. When these 2 cultivation techniques were used together, he would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Song Wen, take advantage of this time to cultivate as well. Song Wen didn't stand on ceremony. He took the cultivation technique and began to cultivate. After all, only by cultivating and increasing his strength would the gap between them shrink. There's one more thing I need your help with in the future. Song Wen, tell me. If I can do it, I'll definitely do it. If he couldn't do it, he would go and learn. When the time comes, you can create a virtual world, like the one I had before. It's not connected to the internet. I'll seal their memories and make up some melodramatic plots for them to experience over and over again, Tang Guo said. When Song Wen heard this, he said easily, this is not a problem at all, but will this increase their strength? When the time comes, I'll set up a formation to evolve all their strength. It won't increase. That's good. The two of them didn't speak anymore. They were both absorbing soul power crazily. A lot of soul power surged around the two of them, forming a huge vortex. Chapter 55-50. He didn't even have time to look around before he rushed in. Tang Guo followed closely behind. Qing Hao. You're despicable. How dare you pretend to be the refining Ghost King and use the Ghost King to distract me and take Shangxue away. Qing Hao felt like his soul was about to dissipate. When he saw Xingchen rushing over, he was so scared that he hid behind Meng Shangxue. At that moment, Meng Shangxue felt a little strange, but she stopped him in time. Xingchen, don't do anything in front of me. It's not what you think. Qing Hao is in a bad situation now. Then, Meng Shangxue saw Tang Guo standing behind Xingchen. She was a very beautiful woman. She didn't know what her relationship was with Xingchen. Why did he bring a woman back? She felt a little uncomfortable. She's the Ghost King, Qing Hao reminded in a low voice. Get Xingchen here. That Ghost King will do something to you. Now, whether they could escape this ordeal depended on Xingchen. Qing Hao had never been so hopeful. Xingchen had been cultivating diligently for the past few years and was stronger than him. He wasn't jealous at all. Xingchen, come here, Meng Shangxue shouted. Xingchen was confused, but he walked over obediently. Tangwa didn't stop him. She only glanced at Qin Hao. This guy was probably stirring up trouble again. Qin Hao felt his scalp go numb. He had experienced Tangwa's cruelty before, so he didn't dare to say anything else. He believed that if she wanted to, she could capture him in an instant. Xing Chen, what's your relationship with her? Meng Shangxue asked. Didn't you say you had something to do? Why did you bring someone back? Xing Chen said, she was the one who caused the commotion. His gaze fell on Qin Hao. It's all his fault. Qin Hao is so miserable now. What did he do? Xing Chen, you're always like this. You blame everything on Qin Hao. He didn't do anything, but you have to put the blame on him. Didn't you ask me why you can't compare to Qin Hao? I'll tell you today. It's because you're too cunning and scheming. I like simple and gentle people. When I'm with you, I always feel uncomfortable. No matter what I do, I feel like I'm being schemed against. Xing Qiong was so angry that he laughed. So, I'm that kind of person in your mind. Touch your conscience and ask yourself, when have I ever schemed against you? I've always treated you wholeheartedly. On the other hand, this guy is a hypocrite. He's just good-looking and knows how to talk. Actually, he's much more calculating than I am. Today, an uninvited guest came to my spiritual realm. You can ask Qin Hao if he knows about this. Meng Shangxue only knew that Qin Hao was tormented by a ghost king, but she did not know the reason. Although Xing Chen was biased towards Qin Hao, she still turned to look at him. Qin Hao, what's going on? Qin Hao was silent for a while. After all, it was disgraceful to say this, but he couldn't hide it anymore. I was forced to do this. Back then, Xing Chen used some tricks to take you away and close the gates to the spiritual realm. With my strength alone, I couldn't force it open, so I planned to raise a ghost king and have her cooperate with me to open the gates to the spiritual realm. So, you created that ghost king for me. Meng Shangxue was moved. Her mind was filled with the thought that Qin Hao had done so much for her. In the end, he was so weak because of the backlash from the Ghost King, right? Xing Chen saw that Meng Shangxue was so moved that her eyes were red and tearing up. She was so angry that she laughed. Xing Chen, although Qin Hao was at fault for implicating your spiritual realm, it was your fault in the beginning. If you hadn't brought me here, Qin Hao wouldn't have been forced to use the Ghost Refining King. Chapter 55-51. Xing Su, stop right there. Don't do anything in front of me. It's not what you think. Qin Hao is in a bad situation now. Then, Meng Shangxue saw Tangwa standing behind Xing Chen. Tangwa was a very beautiful woman. She didn't know what her relationship with Xing Chen was. Why did he bring a woman back? She felt a little uncomfortable. She's the Ghost King, Qin Hao reminded her softly. Get Xing Su here. That Ghost King will do you harm. Now, whether they could survive this ordeal or not depended on Xing Su. Qin Hao had never looked forward to it so much. Xing Su had been cultivating diligently for the past few years and was stronger than him. He was not jealous at all. Xing Su, come here, Meng Shangxue shouted. Xing Su was confused, but he still walked over obediently. Tangwa did not stop him. She only glanced at Qin Hao. This guy was probably stirring up trouble again. Qin Hao's scalp went numb. He had experienced Tangwa's cruelty. He did not dare to say anything else. He believed that if she wanted to, she could capture him in an instant. Xing Su, what's your relationship with her? Meng Shangxue asked. Didn't you say you had something to do? Why did you bring someone back? Xing Su said, she was the one who caused the commotion. His gaze fell on Qing Hao. He did it. Qing Hao is so miserable now. What did he do? Xing Su, you're always like this. You blame everything on Qing Hao. He didn't do anything. Why do you have to put the blame on him? Didn't you ask me why you're not as good as Qing Hao? I'll tell you today. You're too cunning and scheming. I like simple and gentle people. When I'm with you, I always feel uncomfortable. No matter what I do, I feel like I'm being schemed against. Xing Su was so angry that he laughed. Am I such a person in your heart? Ask yourself, when have I ever schemed against you? I've always been loyal to you. On the other hand, this guy is a hypocrite. He's just good-looking and knows how to talk. Actually, he's much more scheming than I am. Today, an uninvited guest came to my spiritual realm. You can ask Qing Hao if he knows about this. Meng Shengxue only knew that Qing Hao was tormented by a ghost king, but she did not know the reason. Although Xing Chen was biased towards Qing Hao, she still turned to look at him. Qing Hao, what's going on? Qing Hao was silent for a while. After all, it was disgraceful to say this, but he couldn't hide it anymore. I had no choice but to do this. Back then, Xing Qi used some underhanded means to take you away and shut the gate to the spirit world. With my own strength, I can't forcefully open it, so I plan to nurture a ghost king and let the ghost king cooperate with me to open the gate to the spirit world. So, you created that ghost king for me. Meng Shangxue was touched. Her mind was filled with the thought that Qing Hao had done so much for her. In the end, he must have been devoured by the ghost king, which was why he was so weak. Xing Su saw that Meng Shangxue was so touched that her eyes were red. She was so angry that she laughed. Xing Su, although Qing Hao is at fault for implicating your spiritual realm, it was all your fault in the beginning. If you hadn't brought me here, Qing Hao wouldn't have been forced to use the ghost refining king. Chapter 55-52. Xing Chen was enraged. His power surged towards Qing Hao. Meng Shangxue quickly blocked it. Xing Chen saw her move and quickly retracted his power. At this moment, Qing Hao spoke, Xing Chen, let's put aside our past grievances for now. We have more important things to do now. As he spoke, he looked fearfully in Tangua's direction. The most important thing now is to find a way to get rid of her. Xing Chen's expression was indifferent. He spoke as if this matter had nothing to do with him. Why should I help you get rid of her? I've already made things clear to this lady. You're the one who harmed her, not me. Xing Chen, how can you be like this? Is this the time to be making sarcastic remarks? We should unite and deal with her together. Qing Hao just said that she was the one who caused him to become like this. Meng Shangxue interrupted. Although Xing Chen was a little confused as to how Qing Hao had been harmed by Tangua, he was quickly angered by Meng Shangxue's words. Why was it always his fault no matter what happened? Xing Chen, don't think that this has nothing to do with you. Qing Hao was a little anxious. Do you know how she caused me to become like this? That's because she already knew that I was the one who did it. Since I was the one who did it, why did she still look for you? Think about it yourself. If you don't join forces with us, you'll end up worse than me. Xing Chen frowned and turned to look at Tangua. He saw that she was leisurely leaning to the side, as if waiting for them to catch up. Lady, did you know that Qing Hao was the one who plotted against you? Yes. Xing Chen did not understand. Then you should be looking for Qing Hao for revenge. Why did you come to the spiritual realm? That woman was right about one thing. If it weren't for you, this wouldn't have happened. Why do you think I'm here? Tangua smiled and stood up straight. Now that you're done catching up, why don't we settle the score? Lady, you're being unreasonable. Who can predict what will happen in the future? Me taking Shangxue away has nothing to do with you. If you want to blame someone, you should blame Qing Hao for his selfishness. Xing Chen clearly realized that Tang Guo was not a simple person. After all, if Qing Hao could not resist her, then his ending would not be much different. I'll tell you the truth. I'm a reincarnator. Xing frowned. Reincarnator. These few words could be understood just by looking at the literal meaning of it. Qing Hao, you should know very well what a reborn person is, right, Qing Hao? Tang Guo's gaze swept towards Qing Hao, who was standing behind Meng Shangxue. After all, you made me reincarnate countless times in the virtual world just to provoke me and make me explode with resentment, become a ghost king, and then help you open the door to the spirit realm. Qing Hao's face turned pale. His previous guess was wrong. Tang Guo was not a powerful being, but a reincarnator who had experienced everything. If that was the case, it would make sense for the other party's soul energy to be so strong. What do you want? Qing Hao asked. Do you want to hear the original story? Tang Guo asked with a smile, but she didn't give them a chance to answer. Instead, she said, in your previous life, you succeeded and asked me to help you open the gate to the spirit realm. Then I went to look for Xing Qin. While we were fighting, you went to see Meng Shangxue. But you did not expect that I would become stronger and stronger. In the end, the three of you joined forces and killed me. Chapter 55-53. After that, I was reborn, Tang Guo added. System, the host's ability to make up stories is getting stronger and stronger. At this moment, all three of them frowned. If Tang Guo was not lying, then the other party was definitely much stronger than them. No wonder Qing Hao was defeated by her. Since you're so strong, how could the three of us kill you if we joined forces? Didn't you know how to escape? Meng Shangxue suddenly asked. At our level, even if we can't win, it's still easy to escape. I'm really confused. Why did you get killed by us? You're not making up stories to deceive us, are you? Meng Shangxue already believed what Tang Guo said. It was because of this that she was afraid of Tang Guo's power. Just as she had asked, the other party was so strong. If they paid a price, escaping would not be a problem. Why didn't they escape in the end? In between, Tang Guo must have omitted something that she could not say. She asked this in order to fish for information. That's none of your business. Tang Guo casually made up a story for Meng Shangxue to see that she was indeed smart. She was able to extract the most important thing from a long story. Meng Shangxue was not anxious at all even though she did not get an answer. This was because Tang Guo's expression already told her that she must have found some weakness to be able to kill the other party. Otherwise, Tang Guo's expression would not be so unnatural. She even looked like she did not want to remember. Meng Shangxue's thoughtful expression almost made Tang Guo laugh. Anyway, she had already sealed the door to the spiritual realm. She would play hide-and-seek with these people. First, she would give them a little bit of hope. Then, she would tear their hope to shreds and make them feel despair and fear. Weren't they like that too? They liked to play with other people's fates. A life full of resentment was just a spice in their relationship. Let's go! Shouted Xing Chen suddenly. A ferocious wave of energy shot towards Tang Guo's position. Immediately after, his silhouette disappeared in front of Tang Guo, and an array appeared in front of Tang Guo. When Xing Chen shouted, Meng Shangxue reacted very quickly. She pulled Qing Hao and disappeared. Although they were a little angry when they quarreled with Xing Chen just now, they quickly looked at each other in tacit understanding. They planned to confuse the enemy and then take the opportunity to hide in the formation. At least, they could give the enemy some time to react. Qing Hao had been tortured to such an extent by the other party. It was obvious that they could not fight force with force. They had to outsmart him. Qing Hao knew Tang Guo the best, so Meng Xiangxue decided to ask Qing Hao about Tang Guo's weaknesses later. Tang Guo looked at the fog in front of her and did not panic. Her attainments in array formations might not be unrivaled forever, but at least in this small world, no one was more profound than her. The formation in front of her was full of flaws, and she could easily break it. Even if he used brute force, he could easily break it open. However, she still pretended to be lost in the array formation, as if she was trapped. It's a little boring. System, I feel like this transmigration journey is about to end. Soon, I'll be able to leave these thousands of small worlds and return to my original place. The system was surprised. Just as the soul power was about to break free, it instantly absorbed the jade that contained the soul power of the array formation. Originally, my soul power was not easy to recover. It even increased a lot before this. Then, I could clearly feel that the truth was only separated by a very thin layer of paper. Chapter 55-54. The system was so excited that it was incoherent. The great host had traveled through so many worlds, it was time for her to return to her original world and find herself. If this continued, he felt that she would be a little tired. Tang Guo, it's been so many years, and you've become the most powerful system, but you still haven't forgotten about the serial number. After the system finished sending the email, it roughly scanned the system space and organized it in an instant. It was really too happy. When it scanned the sky spring, it was stunned. Tang Guo was also a little surprised. She really hadn't been to the sky spring for a long time. Sometimes, when there were many worlds connected, she didn't need to rest at all. It wasn't like before. Looks like my intuition was right. Her soul could faintly feel a calling, but it wasn't very strong. She even heard some voices, but it was too messy and she couldn't make out the content of those voices. As for Xing Qin and the other two who were hiding on the other side of the array, they looked as if they were facing a great enemy. That's how it is. If there's any weakness, it would be her family. When I set up the virtual world, the family Tang people were created one by one according to the family in her world, Qing Hao said. Meng Xiangxue, so, her weakness is her family. We can use this to kill her. However, this method can only be used once. We have to kill her in one fell swoop. I'm not sure if the combined strength of the two of you can kill her in one fell swoop. Qing Hao's face was full of fear. She stripped my soul with her bare hands. I didn't even have a chance to use my secret technique to escape. The power of her soul is very strong. Just one soul suppression is enough to make people of our level lose all ability to move. Xing Qin couldn't help but reveal a look of shock on his face. Was it really that powerful? If that was the case, he was no match for Tang Guo. Because he and Qing Hao were neck and neck. Since Qing Hao had said so, he was definitely inferior. Isn't there a land of evil in the spirit realm? Even we weren't able to go too far in that time. The fiendish energy violently messed up our power and almost caused us to explode. Meng Xiangxue suddenly thought of this. Why don't we think of a way to lure her to that place? As long as we let her go deeper and trap her for a while, she will definitely explode and die. She's not a fool. We can't beat her in terms of strength, so how can we trap her? Moreover, the array formation that trapped her outside was not something that could be set up in a short period of time. Also, there's no way for us to set up a formation in that place. Qing Hao said. Meng Xiangxue smiled, her face full of confidence. Doesn't she have a weakness? We can use any means to make her chase after her family to that place. There's no reason for her not to go. Chapter 55-55. When Xing Chen and Qin Hao heard this, their eyes lit up. It was true. Especially Qin Hao, a smile appeared on his lips. She cares about her family the most. This method will work. Then let's get ready immediately. Xing Chen said, I'll carve a few wooden puppets later and then transform them into her family. But I don't know what they look like. I'll draw it out later. Qin Hao said. Okay, then there's no problem. This should be the time when the two of them got along well. An hour later, Tang Guo broke the array. When she was chasing after the aura of the three of them, she suddenly found a few familiar faces. Wasn't that a member of the Tang family? These family Tang people didn't seem to be struggling because they were now being controlled by some people who looked down on them. They were heading towards the original owner. Tang Guo followed them. If she didn't put on a show, how could the three of them be relieved? After Tang Guo left, the three of them looked at each other and followed after her. Tang Guo knew this move. It was also the move that the three of them had used to kill the original owner. That was the reason why she had come here. The three of them should be following behind slowly. As she leaped, she threw spirit stones on the ground. At the same time, she made hand seals and quickly set up an array. It wasn't a powerful array. It was just an illusion array. She just wanted to lure them into a place full of demonic aura. In order to prevent the three of them from noticing anything, she added a little bit of protection on the array. So even though the three of them had run into a place full of demonic aura, they didn't feel very uncomfortable. After running for a long time, the three of them started to have doubts. Could it be that too much time had passed, so this path was longer than they thought? When they ran to the edge of the cliff and saw Tang Guo sitting there waiting for them, their expressions changed slightly. Did we go the wrong way? The wooden puppets are already at the bottom of the cliff. I can feel it. Xing Chen said, she followed us here. Then why is there no demonic aura here? Qin Hao was confused. And her. Thinking of Tang Guo's tricks, Qin Hao shouted, Go, let's go quickly. However, it was too late. Tang Guo had already dispelled the formation, and the murderous aura surged in from all directions. The impact was so strong that the three of them couldn't even stand steadily. Tang Guo still wanted to keep Qin Hao alive. She didn't want him to die here, so she reached out and grabbed his soul. Then she kneaded him into a ball and threw him out, forming a very beautiful parabola. The remaining two had no time to pay attention to anything else. They were all trying their best to resist the fiendish aura entering their bodies. Tang Guo leisurely sat on the edge of the cliff. She looked at the two people struggling in pain and laughed, although you are very smart, how could you forget that I am a reincarnated person? Tang Guo's question made Meng Shangshue's face turn pale. Yes, Tang Guo was a reincarnator. She had thought of a good idea, but she had forgotten that the other party was a reincarnated person. Perhaps he had already experienced such a situation. So you died here? Xing Qiong asked. Tang Guo lowered her head. Yes, I also want you to have a taste of what it is like to explode here. Don't worry, I am not as cruel as you. I will not let you die. At the crucial moment, I will protect your souls. Like Qin Hao. This was what Meng Shangxue and Xing Chen wanted to do. No, they were not willing to do that. They had cultivated for who knows how many years. They simply couldn't accept the fact that they had become ordinary souls. Chapter 55-56. An ordinary soul could neither be reincarnated nor cultivate. It could only dissipate between heaven and earth. The chaotic and violent demonic aura kept surging into their meridians. Even though they tried their best to stop it, they couldn't stop it all. Their skin was bleeding from the demonic aura. If they waited any longer, their meridians would explode. This was the scariest place in the spiritual realm. Even Xing Qin, the master of the spiritual realm, didn't dare to explore this place. He only knew that without a certain level of cultivation, no one dared to step into this place. He didn't see anyone who went and come out again. Tang Guo rested her chin on her hand as she watched the two suffer. She felt very comfortable. Xing Chen and Meng Shangxue were shocked that she was completely fine. The system said, "Host, you're in a soul state now." Her soul state was much stronger than her physical body. When these demonic auras poured into her soul, they would only serve as nourishment. They wouldn't have any effect on her at all. This further demonstrated how powerful Tang Guo's soul was. What was worse was that she had the power of merit and could quickly get rid of the demonic aura. She wasn't afraid of indigestion at all. "Your Excellency." Xing Chen's body was already as big as a ball. He felt like he could explode at any moment. He had no choice but to speak with difficulty. "The person who harmed you is actually Qing Hao. The two of us can only be considered as the trigger. Everyone has different thoughts. We can't control what Qing Hao wants to do." This time, Meng Shangxue didn't interrupt. At this moment, she had also been turned into a ball by the fiendish aura. "Are you trying to reason with me?" Tang Guo looked up. "I think you're going to explode." "Your Excellency, can you give us a chance?" Tang Guo said, "No." "Your Excellency, don't talk. The more you talk, the faster you'll explode," Tang Guo reminded him. Xing Chen was indeed frightened. He felt the demonic aura rushing into him faster and faster. He quickly shut up. "Miss Tang, everything can be discussed. You've been reborn and nothing has happened. Why don't we sit down and talk?" Meng Shangxue didn't want to explode. She couldn't take it anymore and had to give in. "What right do you have to say that? Wasn't it your idea to use my family to lure me to this place? How dare you bring this up?" Meng Shangxue did not expect Tang Guo to know about this, so she was speechless for a moment. She originally wanted to say that she had nothing to do with this matter, but now she couldn't say anything. "Stop talking, the two of you. It'll explode even faster later." The two of them were extremely frightened, but their murderous aura was not polite at all. Tang Guo also showed no mercy. She still couldn't wait for the two of them to explode so that she could absorb the murderous aura here. She was getting impatient, so she stood up and walked towards the two of them. "You dare what?" Meng Shangxue asked subconsciously. "Why aren't you guys exploding? I can't wait any longer. I'll give you a hand." "No!" Meng Shangxue shouted, followed by Xing Qin. While the two of them were terrified, Tang Guo crazily absorbed the murderous aura below the cliff and transferred it to the two of them. System, what a cunning operation. Bang! Bang! Following two sounds, Meng Shangxue and Xing Chen's bodies finally exploded. The moment they felt intense pain, Tang Guo kept a trace of their souls, which was the strength of an ordinary person's soul. "See, I'm very trustworthy. I said I won't take your lives, so I won't take your lives." As she spoke, she placed restrictions on the two of them, then rolled them into a ball and threw them outside. After that, she began to absorb the murderous aura around her to strengthen her soul. The entire spiritual realm felt that there was a strange movement here. Songwen felt that familiar aura, as if he was in a very bad place. He stood up and rushed over. However, the murderous aura in front of him stopped him. These things were very scary. He was very worried about Tang Guo's safety, so he anxiously walked in circles. In the end, he actually gritted his teeth and directly rushed inside. However, before he could take 2 steps, his soul seemed to be about to disperse. At this moment, a golden light appeared between his eyebrows and instantly covered his entire body. His soul closed up, and he stood firmly in the murderous aura. The pain on his face also disappeared. With a leap, he disappeared from where he stood. Chapter 55-57. In an instant, Songwen arrived at the center of the fiendish energy vortex and saw Tanguo sitting on the edge of the cliff, absorbing the fiendish energy. Seeing her standing there unscathed, his anxious heart finally calmed down. He wanted to walk over, but he was afraid that the aura he exuded would make her suspect something. He clearly knew that she was not so weak, but when he could not see her, he was still so impulsive and exposed himself. If he was still the ignorant Songwen from before, he would have lived a happy life. But now, he was no longer the ignorant Songwen. For a moment, he did not know how to approach her. It was because the fiendish energy here was too dangerous that his seal was activated and his memories and power were released. It was almost impossible to change back now. He had already fused with Songwen's soul. Songwen was not someone else. He was also a part of him, a sliver of his soul that he had scattered to various small worlds. As for why he did this, it was a long story. His name was Yinyao. Her name was Guogua. They knew each other and were even very familiar with each other. She was the princess of Tianhai, cute and domineering. Many people called her Tianhai's little conqueror. And he was an existence that suddenly wandered in Tianhai one day and happened to meet her, who was only 7 or 8 years old. At that time, they were best friends. The princess of Tianhai, who was envied by everyone, also had her troubles. She liked to share with him. He did not know how to comfort her. He could only silently listen from the side. He was born cold. No matter what emotion it was very faint in his mind. At first, he did not understand what love was, but in his heart, he could feel that Guogua was not ordinary. As for why she was not ordinary, he did not know. No one told him, and he did not know how to express his feelings. So, one day, he left. Because he heard all kinds of voices in Tianhai. Those voices told him that a happy event would soon occur in Tianhai. He continued to listen. Then he heard that the princess of Tianhai, Guogua, was going to discuss marriage. He should have had no emotions, but at that time, he was a little sad, as if he had been abandoned. He did not like being abandoned and continuing to wander. But Guogua was about to discuss marriage. He heard the voices in the sky and sea talking a lot. They all said that Guogua was going to live on the land on the other side of the mountain in the future. In the future, he would never return to Tianhai. He didn't believe it at first, but after waiting for 2 days, Guogua still hadn't come, so he naturally believed it. On the 3rd day, Guogua came. The first thing she asked him was if he wanted to be with her forever. If he wanted to, she would take him back to the palace. He had heard that people would bring a dowry when they got married. He mistakenly thought that Guogua intended to bring him along as a dowry. After all, his original body did look very much like a dowry. He decisively refused. Now that he thought about it, he really wanted to slap himself. What dowry? Guogua just wanted to change their relationship. Guogua was a very stubborn person. She wouldn't admit defeat easily once she made up her mind. At the same time, he also had his own pride. Since he couldn't find out what he was thinking, he left. He thought that Guogua had abandoned him, so he left. Later, he found out that Guogua had gone back to get the magic weapon to take him away. So, he missed the second chance to be taken away by her. After leaving Tianhai, he met his elder brother and left with him. Chapter 55-58. Yinyao was very happy to meet his family that had been separated from him. Later, he heard from his elder brother that he had been looking for him all these years. He felt a little different. He went to a place called the Time Control Department. He heard from his elder brother that this place was set up because someone was using tricks to steal the energy and fate of some small worlds. He had to stop it. He asked many questions about the existence of small worlds, so he decided to disperse some souls into the small worlds to have a look. Later, more and more souls were dispersed. He didn't know how many worlds he had dispersed. It even affected his main body to a certain extent. And his main body in the secret room seemed to be immersed in his own world. He was in a deep sleep and had no intention of waking up. He didn't want to wake up. He wasn't human, so he didn't think it was a big deal to sleep. After all, not everyone in this world would talk to him like a guagua. Including his elder brother, he had his own things to do. Of course, the souls that were dispersed were very weak, but they were still stronger than ordinary people. These souls didn't have his memories, but indifference and ruthlessness were still engraved in their bones. Even if they met a soul with a guagua's aura, the soul still had its own heart. It was only when they met the real guagua that everything was finally broken. A guagua's existence greatly stimulated the souls in the small worlds. It even stimulated his main body to wake up. At first, he thought it was very interesting because that person was a guagua, his former friend. So, he immediately threw himself into the small worlds to see what she was up to. Until he understood his own heart, he changed from being casual at the beginning to being careful. He was afraid that he would lose the third chance to be taken away. Later, he took the opportunity to go to Tianhai to understand the situation. He found that the truth was completely different from what he thought. Although a guagua was discussing marriage in Tianhai, she didn't have that intention at all. She even scolded the people who proposed marriage. Song 1. Yin Yao was still immersed in his memories when a familiar voice suddenly sounded. It scared him. Only then did he see that the demonic aura had completely disappeared. It was obvious that it was absorbed by Tanggua. After Tanggua finished absorbing the demonic aura, she saw Song Wen standing not far behind her. Song Wen's aura was not simple, and he was in a daze. She still called out to him. "Didn't I tell you to stay here and cultivate? Why are you here? Can you control the demonic aura here?" Yin Yao hurriedly said, "When I came here, there was no killing intent." "System, dear host, he's lying. This guy is dishonest. He must have done something bad." "Is that so?" Tanggua glanced at him and immediately shifted her gaze to the bottom of the cliff. "I've already absorbed all the killing intent. Let's go down and see what's going on. I keep hearing noises from below." "Okay." Yin Yao answered, pretending to speak in Song Wen's tone, but he was very nervous. Tanggua tilted her head and smiled at him. "You look a little strange." Yin Yao pursed his lips nervously. Was it okay for him to imitate himself? The crux of the matter was that he couldn't imitate himself. He only spoke less and chased after them. "Dear host, aren't you going to investigate further? This guy is obviously lying." The system didn't understand. "You can't accept a liar. I'm waiting for him to confess." Yin Yao felt uneasy all over. His eyes were fixed on Tanggua and never left her. How could Tanggua not notice such an obvious look? She could sense the dense soul aura. He hadn't been possessed. It should be the same as her. Chapter 55-59. I didn't expect the scenery below the cliff to be so nice. Tanggua was a little surprised. Yin Yao also looked around. He wasn't sure about this place. There were many strange places in the small world. There were thousands of worlds. No matter how strong a person was, he couldn't understand everything. Tanggua took light steps and floated quickly to the place where she could hear the sound. Her speed was getting faster and faster. Yin Yao could also catch up. At this moment, he obviously forgot to hide his real strength. You've become stronger. Tang Gui didn't notice anything. Yin Yao's legs went soft and he fell. Tang Gui stopped in mid-air and looked down at Yin Yao, who was falling. You're a soul. Hurry up and float up. You won't die from the fall. Yin Yao floated up silently and landed beside her. He knew that she noticed. She was so smart. How could she not notice the abnormality? In front of him, only Song Wen, who didn't remember anything, could be real. He who had a little bit of Yin Yao's memory was just pretending. I saw a lot of murderous aura just now. I was a little worried, so I came over. Tang Gui didn't stop. She floated while listening to Yin Yao. The murderous aura was very scary. I waited for a long time, but you didn't come out. So I came in. Yin Yao said honestly. The seal was broken and I recovered my memory. After explaining, Yin Yao showed a look that said he was at your mercy. The system couldn't help but sympathize. So this guy gave himself away because he was too worried about the host. If that's the case, I'll forgive him this time. So that's why. Tang Gui didn't ask more. Yin Yao was anxious. Aren't you going to ask more about why? We're going out anyway. It doesn't matter if I ask or not. Before I remember, we can still get along peacefully. Yin Yao was a little helpless. There's no deep hatred between us. That's the best. Agwagwa. Yin Yao called. I'll wait for you to go back. He wanted to explain, but he felt that it would spoil the mood. She didn't have any memory now. Even if he explained, she would still be suspicious. It was better to wait for her to go back. Don't chase me away. I'll just stay by your side. Yin Yao made a request. I won't do anything to you. Tang Gui reacted this time. Do you think you can beat me? Yin Yao, he was very powerful. Many people in Tianhai weren't his match. However, she was even more powerful. Tang Gui didn't argue with Yin Yao. She heard the sound getting louder and quickly chased after it. After a while, he finally found the source of the sound. Seeing the scene in front of her, she was shocked. Those voices were actually souls. She directly brought out all the souls of the Tang family members. They were already very weak, so she transferred some soul energy to them. Seeing that their souls were stable, she asked what was going on. At this time, Tang Gui's face is slightly different from before. It can only be said that she looks very similar. In addition, her temperament was very different from the original owners, so no one in the Tang family recognized her. Thank you, Master. Tang Baiyan and his family bowed to Tang Gui. Tang Gui glanced at them one by one and asked, You should all be ordinary souls. Why are you trapped here? Sister, we fell from the reincarnation pool. Chapter 55-60. The one who spoke was Tang Ying. Her eyes were slightly red. Then we were trapped here. It's very uncomfortable. Sister, you're really my second sister. We've been waiting here for a long time, but we didn't see her. Maybe it's because she has a longer lifespan. I hope she can live well. The more I look at this sister, the more she looks like my second sister. Tang Anchin had appeared in front of Tang Gui. He looked like a 13-year-old and was wearing a torn casual outfit. He looked very serious. But her aura is different. My second sister is just an ordinary person. She's not as strong as this young lady. Tang Anshan said. Although he also hoped that Tang Gui was his second sister, it was impossible. In other words, the reincarnation pool can't let them be reincarnated. They will only fall here. Tang Guo pondered. In the end, they will be swallowed by the murderous aura here. Yes. Tang Anchin continued. Even if we hide very far away, our souls will continue to weaken. Take me to the place where you fell. Tang Guo looked at the place where they were trapped. Why are you trapped here? Tang Ing, we weren't here at first. We were in another place. But there are very powerful souls here. In order to survive, they eat other souls to replenish themselves. Our family was just captured by them and trapped here. Take me to the place where we fell first. The place where they fell from the reincarnation pool was a trap. Not long after, Tang Guo was brought to the destination. In the air above them, there was a black hole. It was as if the sky had been broken. The Tang family members pointed out that they had fallen from this place. But when they were above, they clearly saw that it was the reincarnation pool. It was said that when ordinary people died, they would go back to that place and be reincarnated. Tang Guo's powerful soul shrouded the black hole in an instant. Her divine consciousness had already seen the top of the reincarnation pool. She only stopped for a moment and scanned half of the entire spiritual world. After that, she covered the Tang family members and led them into the dark cave entrance. Yin Yao hurriedly followed behind. This is the place, Tang Anshan said. Look over there, there are still ordinary souls being sent down. Tang Guo had already seen that there was another hole there. She continued to lead the family Tang group into the building. The Tang family members did not quite understand why she would bring them along wherever she went. Only Tang Anchin had a contemplative look on his face. There was a hint of joy and uncertainty. Passing through the dark passageway, a strong ray of sunlight pierced the family Tang members and made them shiver. This time, Yin Yao reacted the fastest. He quickly covered the family. The Tang family members quickly bowed and thanked Yin Yao. Then, they looked at their surroundings in surprise. It was so bright and grand. They had not seen such a place for a long time. This is the human realm, right? Where they used to live. Tang Guo's soul scanned the entire human world, trying to find a place where ordinary people would go after death, but to no avail. Only the spot beneath her feet would continuously attract the souls of ordinary people. Even now, there were ordinary souls falling into the hole from all directions. Many souls thought that they had gone to hell, but they did not know that this was a place where they would die. This small world is probably incomplete. There is no reincarnation, Yin Yao said. They wished that their home was in the company. They did everything in the company and even slept in the company. Back in the spirit world, after Tang Guo had settled her Tang family, she walked out of the palace and was about to find the three little souls who were hiding when Tang Anchin chased after her and called out to her. Are you second sister? Tang Guo turned around and saw that Tang Anchin's eyes were filled with nervousness, anticipation, and fear. For a moment, she didn't know how to answer. If she answered yes, it was obvious that she would not be able to fool this child. He was very smart. Her performance was definitely not that of an ordinary soul. I have her memories, as well as helping her fulfill her wish. Then can you tell me what happened to second sister after our accident? This time, Tang Guo didn't hide anything. They would know sooner or later and accept that someone they cared about would disappear. She might as well let them know from the beginning. So, it was that person called Qing Hao who harmed second sister? And you appeared. Yes. Tang Anchin walked in front of Tang Guo. I know you are different from second sister, but I still want to call you second sister. Go ahead. Second sister. Tang Anchin's eyes were red. Give me a hug. Tang Guo thought of the settings in the virtual world and reached out to hug Tang Anchin. I don't hug people easily. Tang Anchin explained. Second sister, where are you going now? I'm going to catch those 3 people and make them contribute to the future reincarnation pool. In order to make a semi-virtual world realistic, not only did it need to run at a high speed, but it also needed some souls to experience all kinds of plots in it. Tang Anchin was confused before, but she understood a little. Her eyes shone with anticipation. Can I participate? Arrange for them. Of course, but I need a more intense plot. Can you write it? Yes, yes. Chapter 55-62. Qing Hao and the other 2 were in spirit form, and their strength was similar to that of an ordinary person. Since Tanggua had sealed off the spiritual realm, they could not escape. Tanggua found them effortlessly. Her divine sense covered the entire spiritual realm, and she searched every inch of it. Even an ant could not escape her detection. The 3 of them were quite smart. They hid beside the reincarnation pool. They probably thought that she could not find that place. The reincarnation pool was still attracting ordinary souls. Qing Hao and the other 2 hid near the reincarnation pool. Perhaps they were not ordinary people, so they did not jump into the reincarnation pool as if they had lost their minds. When Tanggua found them, the 3 of them were talking. Is this place safe? Qing Hao's face was full of worry. He had personally experienced how powerful Tanggua was, but he did not expect her to be so powerful that she was not afraid of the murderous aura at all. The previous scene had shattered all of his hopes. Xing Chen leaned against the cliff and panted heavily. His face was very pale. After all, he had been severely injured not long ago and had not recovered yet. There are many places to hide in the spiritual realm, but with our current strength, we can't consider those places. We might be smashed to pieces before we even enter. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is the safest place, Meng Shangxue said. Previously, we accidentally found her bringing the family's souls out of the reincarnation pool and brought them to the human realm without hesitation. Obviously, she would not have thought of this place. Yes, the 3 of them were originally hiding near the reincarnation pool. When they accidentally saw Tanggua appear with the family's souls, they were shocked. They were afraid that Tanggua would discover them. At that time, they hid in the same place like statues. Perhaps there were too many spirits around, or perhaps Tanggua did not even think of them, so they were not discovered. As soon as Tanggua left, they didn't move. At first, Meng Shangxue thought that Tanggua took the wooden puppets made by Xing Qin. After thinking about it carefully, she felt that something was wrong. Those wooden puppets were just illusions. They looked like family Tang people, but once they got close to them, they would realize that something was wrong and would quickly recognize that they were fake. Moreover, they came out of the reincarnation pool together. Wasn't Tanggua at that place? Why was he in the reincarnation pool? It had to be said that Meng Shangxue was quite smart. She quickly guessed a possibility. Beneath the reincarnation pool was the land filled with murderous aura. They were considered people who had lived for a long time. Of course, they knew that there was no such thing as reincarnation in this world. The reincarnation pool was a place of no return. In the past, there had been a higher being who had wanted to reincarnate, but he had jumped in and found that many ordinary souls were being corroded by the baleful aura. Ordinary souls would not last for long before they completely dissipated. It was dark inside and looked very desolate. It was not a good place at all. What should we do now? Qing Hao asked the key question. The 3 of them fell silent. In their current state, even if they escaped, they would not be able to cultivate. There were powerful restrictions on their bodies. The person who had placed the restrictions was as powerful as Tanggua. Just thinking about it made them feel despair. You have the nerve to ask. If you didn't provoke her, would this have happened? Xing Chen said coldly. Chapter 55-63. Qing Hao retorted bluntly, if it weren't for you, would I have made such a big fuss? All right, stop arguing. Think about what to do. Meng Xiangshue's tone was not as gentle as before. There was a hint of blame in her voice as she asked the two to stop arguing. You seem to be very troubled. Let me send you to a good place. Tang Guo listened for a while. She did not hear anything important, so she appeared beside the three of them. The three of them were scared out of their wits by this voice. They wanted to float away, but they could not move. While they were struggling, Tang Guo reached out and grabbed the three of them. She squeezed them into 3 small balls, and continued squeezing them. The three of them screamed miserably, but she didn't seem to be moved at all. Where are you taking us? Meng Xiangxue shouted. She was scared. Miss Tang, in fact, we don't have much enmity between us. It was Qing Hao and Xing Chen who did this. If he hadn't taken me away, there wouldn't have been a series of consequences. I was not brought to the spiritual world willingly. I am a victim just like you. When Tang Guo heard this, she couldn't help but smile. She wasn't surprised at all. These 3 people were all very selfish. They did not show their true faces because their strength was on par with each other. No one could do anything to the other. They were also existences who could look down on the common people. They would not be in danger, so of course, they would not be so scared. I'm taking you to a world full of birds and flowers. Tang Guo seemed to be in a good mood. Qing Hao knows. This world was created by Qing Hao himself. By the way, I asked someone to save Lin Xiaoye's data. She is the most realistic NPC in this semi-virtual world. With her company, you won't be too lonely. Qing Hao did not feel good when he heard this. He knew better than anyone what Lin Xiaoye's character was like. This was a character who would become more perverted the more she resisted. It was fine if they were strong, but if they were not, they would be miserable if they went up against Lin Xiaoye. Xing Chen and Meng Xiangxue asked Qing Hao who Lin Xiaoye was. Qing Hao could already figure out what Tang Guo wanted to do. He was afraid that she wanted to make them pay for what they had gone through. His scalp went numb at the thought of that torture. It was fine if they had memories, but without memories, they were just ordinary spirits. They couldn't resist at all and could only experience the plot she had set up in an endless loop. After listening to Qing Hao's explanation, Xing Chen and Meng Xiangxue could not help but shudder. Tang Guo didn't want to waste any more time with them. She turned around and went to the palace to pick up Tang Onqin. She brought them directly to the office building in the human world. Her divine sense found Yin Yao's position and appeared on his body in an instant. Yin Yao was currently using Qing Hao's appearance. The moment he saw Tang Guo, he quickly stood up and changed back to his original appearance. The preparations are almost done here. As for the setting of the script, it's up to you now. Tang Onqin was shocked at that moment, but when he saw Yin Yao's original appearance, he heaved a sigh of relief. Tang Guo patted Tang Onqin on the head, I'll leave the script to you. I don't think I need to tell you what kind of script it should be, right? Second sister, don't worry. I know how to write it. How could Tang Onqin, who knew the truth, be merciful? Who knew how much second sister had suffered in that virtual world? Chapter 55-64. They had suffered the pain of missing their loved ones in the reincarnation pool, but it was not as painful as second sister losing her loved ones. Qing Hao's reason was ridiculous. He killed second sister and made her go through so much pain just to open the door to the spiritual realm to find the person he liked. If he did not let the 3 of them go through the same thing, he would not be Tang Onqin. Yin Yao gave Tang Anchin a seat. Tang Anchin immediately started typing and started writing the plot. Tang Guo even placed Qing Hao and the other two to the side, letting them watch Tang Anchin write. From their expressions, she could tell that Tang Anchin's plot was not a good one. 3 hours later, Tang Anchin's plot appeared. It was a plot about a fight in the house. Xing Su was the young master of the big house. When he saw this identity, Xing Su heaved a sigh of relief. After reading on, he felt unwell all over. Because the plot was that Qing Hao, who had become a woman, and Meng Shangxue were fighting for attention in front of him. What was more terrifying was that Qing Hao's character won. During this period, Meng Shangxue suffered a lot in her hands. In the plot, she liked Qing Hao very much. She slept in his room almost every night. After this part of the plot, there was a bracket. The important parts were written in the bracket. What was worse was that one night, Qing Hao would awaken his memories. Tang Anchin did not arrange the plot after his memories were awakened. It depended on Qing Hao's reaction. Tang Guo's gaze fell on the two of them. Looking at their ugly expressions, they were obviously disgusted to the point of vomiting. In order for the semi-virtual world to operate and evolve as quickly as possible, it was impossible to have only one plot. There had to be various plots. Tang Anchin did not stop. He continued to write the plot. He wrote faster and faster. There were all kinds of plots. He would arrange the three of them as miserable and melodramatic as possible. In order to make them suffer more, he might awaken their memories when they were the happiest. Then, it would be blank. It would depend on how they acted. When the three of them saw this, they swore in their hearts that as long as they regained their memories, they would not do anything bad. If they held back, Tang Guo wouldn't be able to achieve her goal. Tang Guo saw through their thoughts. Did they really think that they were just going to be tortured? She only wanted the entire world to come to life and fuse with the spirit realm to become a special existence. The living souls placed inside would trigger more and more plots on their own. Only then would they be able to fill in the gaps and make this world more realistic. Tang Guo sealed the memories of the three silent people and threw them into the virtual world. The time in the virtual world was set by the program, so a minute in the real world might be countless days or even a lifetime. She sat there, waiting for them to develop the plot. Yin Yao immediately assigned the first script and let the programmers start working. To be honest, this group of workers did not quite understand why their boss always liked this kind of melodramatic plot. Perhaps the pressure was too great. Probably. Managing such a big company, he must be even more bald than them. Thinking of the hot bonus, the workers began to work happily. The few strands of hair hanging down from their foreheads looked particularly vivid. Although they had to experience all kinds of worlds, in order to leave a deep impression on them, Tang Guo still decided to let them experience the same script dozens of times. Chapter 55-65. The three of them went through the first scenario 50 times. Every time Qing Hao's memory was awakened, he was pressed down by Xing Qin. Every time, he felt so disgusted that he wanted to vomit and tried to push Xing Qin away. However, Xing Qin had set him to be a playboy with great physical strength. Of course, this was Tang Guo's doing. He was only a normal soul now. He couldn't resist at all. In this world, Tang Guo would add things in whenever she wanted to enrich the world. After that, he escaped. In the end, Xing Qin wanted to catch him. He kept running and Xing Qin kept catching him. He did whatever he wanted to do to him. He couldn't resist at all. What was worse was that Meng Shangxue, who hadn't awakened her memory, was still as smart as before. She would take advantage of this time to torture him. He explained his background and experience, but Meng Shangxue turned around and announced that he was possessed. Then everyone knew that he was a wandering ghost. How could the mansion allow such a person to exist? Thus, he was captured and locked in a sturdy cage. The old lady of this mansion was the previous Lin Xiaoye. Yi Niao changed her data. She was now the old lady of the mansion. When the old lady made a move, it was clear. Qing Hao was tortured to death. More importantly, he could feel pain. This must be Tangua's doing. He really misunderstood Tangua. Although she did a lot of things that made him feel pain, it really wasn't him who did it. It was because this was a semi-virtual world. As time passed, it would only become more realistic. In the end, Qing Hao was burned alive. His rationality told him that this was fake, but the pain in his body couldn't be ignored. After Qing Hao's character died, Tangua sealed his memory. Then, Meng Xiangxue's character was found out. Qing Hao was proven innocent. Xing Chen took revenge for Qing Hao and tortured Meng Xiangxue personally. In the end, when Xing Chen wanted to revive Qing Hao, Tangua arranged an NPC for him. She said that he couldn't be revived, but could help him meet Qing Hao in his next life. With this plot, Tangua asked Tang Anchin to write a reincarnation plot. When they were almost done, they would see the plot where they reincarnated. After Xing Qi died in the plot, he regained his memory. Thinking of all the things she had done for Qing Hao and all the things she had done to Qing Hao, she was so disgusted that she wanted to vomit. He had only experienced it once, but it felt like a nightmare to him. Next, he would have to go through it dozens of times, and there would be all kinds of small interludes in the middle. It was either this or that memory awakening. Later on, they all forgot that they had to guard their hearts and not be fooled. They only thought about how to torture the other party. After dozens of times, they still experienced the reincarnation plot. Xing Chen reincarnated with the memories of her love for Qing Hao. She had been looking for Qing Hao every day. When she found Qing Hao, he already had a boyfriend, and this boyfriend was actually Meng Xiangxue. Of course, he didn't know about this. Thus, he began to fight with Meng Xiangxue over Qing Hao. In the end, she defeated Meng Xiangxue and married Qing Hao sweetly. On the morning of their wedding, his memory was awakened. Xing Chen was so disgusted that he vomited. He pushed Qing Hao into the sea and killed him. He had already forgotten that he had to stay true to himself. He only felt that Qing Hao was extremely disgusting. Then, he fought with Meng Xiangxue. In the end, he was killed by Meng Xiangxue. She didn't expect that Qing Hao didn't die and came back. But he had lost the memory of being killed by Xing Chen. When he came back, he wanted to take revenge on Meng Xiangxue. After he took revenge on Meng Xiangxue, he went to visit Xing Chen's grave and his memory was awakened. At that time, Qing Hao screamed. It was unknown whether it was because he was disgusted or because he had broken down. Chapter 55-66. According to Tangua's suggestions, Tang Anchin would write the following plot based on their experiences. Every time, the three of them would feel so disgusted that their scalps would go numb. After experiencing so many plots, the three of them had long forgotten their initial awakening and were lost in the plot. Xing Chen and Qing Hao's love for Meng Xiangxue had long collapsed when they lost their powers. Xing Chen and Qing Hao still hated each other. Every time they awakened, they couldn't wait to destroy each other's souls. Meng Xiangxue was the same. Every time, she would suffer an unexpected calamity and die a horrible death. She hated the two of them. However, it was always difficult for her to awaken her memories. It was all because of the two of them. Unfortunately, their souls didn't collapse. Tangua checked their bodies from time to time. This kind of endless cycle was really too painful for them. The three of them didn't know how many times they begged for mercy, but it was useless. Tang Guo watched coldly from outside. This world gradually became more realistic. Time in the virtual world was set to pass very quickly. A day outside was equivalent to several lifetimes inside. Therefore, when this world evolved into the real world, only 10 years had passed outside. Inside, thousands of years had passed. The three of them had experienced countless reincarnations. Every time their souls were about to collapse, Tang Guo would appear and help them recover. No matter how severe the injuries were, she could heal them. In other words, not only did they lose control of their lives, they didn't even have the chance to die freely. When they sensed that this world was becoming more and more real, they were even more afraid. Because the more real it was, the more painful their experiences would be. Everything was no longer virtual. She's using us. The moment Meng Shangxue regained her memories, she realized that this was already a real world. She was terrified. This is a real world. Qing Hao and Xing Qin also realized it when they awakened their memories. The three of them noticed each other and didn't wait for her to turn around again. Their hearts were in a mess. When Tang Guo appeared in front of them, they subconsciously trembled. The punishment for you is almost enough. I'll take you away. The three of them didn't believe that Tang Guo would be so kind. Tang Guo didn't give them a chance to react. She grabbed them and took them out. Then, they were stuffed into a virtual world. This time, it was a real virtual world, and a virtual world where time passed slower than the outside world. Previously, the storyline had been imported. However, without the evolution of time and the realistic NPCs, it was almost impossible for this world to evolve into a real world. Tang Guo thought about it and decided that it would be better to seal them in the virtual world. If she killed them, they might feel relieved. Dear host, is this considered getting rid of the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness? You should learn more idioms. Obviously, the context is not right. Anyway, I know that the host sealed him in because she was afraid that when the reincarnation realm was connected to the spiritual realm and the way of heaven was perfected, the host would find out that they were involved in this matter. At that time, it would be disgusting if their merits were divided. The system still had this bit of knowledge. By sealing them in a virtual world, the heavenly Tao would not be able to discover them. If the heavenly Tao had just perfected the rules, it was still rather immature. If it could not find the culprit, it would not look for the culprit anymore. This matter was considered over. It was busy with many things and had no time to take care of these little luo. 3 years later, the reincarnation realm was connected to the spiritual realm. The reincarnation system inside was activated. The incomplete way of heaven was finally perfected. This world was then truly completed. With the reincarnation world, all living things finally had a chance to be reincarnated. Tang Guo, Yi Niao, and Tang Anqin who did this, as well as the family Tang members who were caught by Tang Guo to occasionally make a guest appearance, were all divided with merits. When she was free, Tang Guo stayed in the human realm. Yi Niao was by her side. She did not ask, and Yi Niao did not dare to go up and say anything. He just silently guarded her. In a few days, I will be leaving. Tang Guo's words made Yi Niao a little reluctant. I will wait for you to go back. Okay. Tang Guo looked at Yi Niao and guessed that there should not be any deep hatred between them. Yi Niao actually had a lot to say, but she did not have her memories. He recovered his memories. She obviously did not want to develop anything further. He felt a little wronged in his heart. What's your name? I forgot to ask. Yi Niao, Yi Niao. Tang Guo paused. It was a familiar name. You seem to have used this name before, right? Yes. Yi Niao was not used to such a stranger. She was very close to him in the past. But it was all because he was stupid and misunderstood her. This time, even if she only treated him as a dowry, he would still insist on going. A few days later, Tang Guo left this world. Before she left, she said goodbye to the family Tang members. Brother Yin Yao, is she second sister? Why do I feel that she is second sister? Before Yin Yao was about to leave, Tang Anshan ran over and asked. Maybe second sister was not that powerful, but he had an intuition that she was second sister. Yin Yao, she is your second sister. To be exact, your second sister is only a part of her. A very, very, very small part. I have to go too. Are you going with second sister? Because Tang Guo told the family Tang members that she was going to another place. Yes. Then you must take good care of second sister. Of course. But I think second sister is so powerful. She doesn't need your care. Tang Anshan said to himself. Yin Yao, she still needs it. After Yin Yao left, Tang Anshan quickly ran back to the family Tang. Dad, Mom, brother, sister, she is second sister. She is really second sister. Yin Yao left the small world. Just as he was tracking Tang Guo's aura and preparing to enter the next world, he suddenly felt a slight pain in the depths of his soul. His expression changed. Yuan Zhou, it's you again. Chapter 55-67. It was no wonder that Yin Yao's expression suddenly turned ugly. Because Nine Origin destroyed his soul in the next small world, as well as his physical body. Not only that, he even set up an array formation outside the small world. At this time, he was outside the array formation. From the aura on the array formation, he could tell that Nine Origin set up this array formation was definitely not something that happened in a day or two. He must have spent a very long time meticulously setting it up, and even brought helpers to set it up. No wonder for so many years, Nine Origin did not appear again. He was probably waiting for him here. A Guogua had probably already been transmitted to the small world. Otherwise, the array formation would not have been activated. Not sure if Nine Origin did anything inside. He had to rush to the small world as soon as possible. Yin Yao took out a blade and slashed hard on the array formation. Who knew that before the blade landed, it was stopped by a force? No, not just one. He was already surrounded. You came out too late. I didn't appear for so many years just to wait for this day. It's just that this is a world that I meticulously set up. If this world didn't have you, a Guogua should like someone like me. The ones surrounding Yin Yao were Nine Origin and his people. Yin Yao turned his head, his eyes full of coldness. You're courting death. Ever since I almost died in a Guogua's hands last time, my original body never appeared again. What you see is merely my external incarnation. After all, I'm the kind that cherishes my life more. When Nine Origin said this, he was still somewhat proud of himself. A Guogua and Yin Yao wanted to live together and come out of the small world happily. They had to ask him, Nine Origin, whether he agreed or not. He grinned at Yin Yao. That smile was very nasty. Do you think that your scheme can really do anything to a Guogua? Although Yin Yao was worried about Tang Guo, he knew that she was capable and would definitely be able to turn misfortune into blessing. What he was nervous about was that he did not want to be unable to participate every time she encountered something. This would give him a very powerless feeling. It won't do anything to her, but it can disgust the two of you. Nine Origin grinned, but Yin Yao did not want to talk nonsense with the other party. He rushed over with the blade. Before the other party could react, Nine Origin's external incarnation was chopped into pieces by him. Then, he quickly chopped up the rest of the people. Nine Origin was an outer body incarnation, but the others were not. Since they provoked him, then it was the fate of being hacked to death. Fuck. These two are really jackals of the same lair, cutting people down without saying a word. The Nine Origin, who was hiding in an unknown place, suddenly opened his eyes. Losing an avatar, he naturally felt it. There was still a trace of pain in the depths of his soul. Fortunately, he cut it off in time. Otherwise, he would feel the pain at the same time. Nine Origin wiped his sweat. Thinking of Agwagwa and Yin Yao's savagery, a look of struggle appeared on his face. He was not willing to give up just like this. In that world, he also left an avatar behind. He wondered if it could disgust the two of them. In fact, he was not so enthusiastic about getting Tangua's heart since a long time ago. He just felt that he would feel uncomfortable if he did not let them suffer a loss. Besides, their existence had indeed ruined his plans. He had to teach them a lesson. I wonder how long that array formation can last. He sensed that Yin Yao's blade was slashing on the formation, and his eyelids were twitching. He had underestimated that guy. He didn't expect him to be a good-for-nothing. Mobile version website. Chapter 55-68. There were many mysterious places in the West Sea continent, and the Dark Forest was one of them that was very difficult for outsiders to enter. Legend had it that there was an extremely powerful dark magician living here. Anyone who had bad intentions and entered the Dark Forest would not be able to come out alive. This mysterious and powerful dark magician had lived here for who knew how long. Originally, she only existed in legends, but in recent years, there had been more and more news about the dark magician. After some understanding, they found that this dark magician liked to take in students, and the students she took in were all heavily injured. However, they never saw these people again. Thus, they were certain that this dark magician was researching some terrifying curse and was using human blood as a sacrifice. Those people she took in the name of taking in students were very likely to have died from blood loss. Teacher, isn't it bad for you to let the students spread your evil name? Right now, everyone in the West Sea continent is filled with fear when they hear about the Dark Forest. Marge said worriedly, Teacher is clearly benevolent and noble. She took us in, healed us, and taught us magic. I don't think there's anyone else in this world who's as good as Teacher. The other students heard this and quickly nodded in agreement. Yes, if Teacher hadn't taken them in, they might have died from their injuries or died in the mouths of wild beasts. It was this great dark magician in front of them, who was also their teacher, who had saved their lives and even bestowed them with such powerful strength. It was just a rumor. Why did the people outside misunderstand their teacher? And why would their teacher, Margaret, allow them to spread such vicious words? But they didn't dare to disobey their teacher's orders. They could only do as she said. Margaret looked at the group of people behind her. They all looked at her with admiration, and she felt a headache coming on. These people were so stupid. They definitely weren't the male and female leads. She didn't know how many students she had picked up, but none of them were the male and female leads. This really annoyed her. You say I'm benevolent. Emerson said sincerely, Yes, Teacher. You're the most benevolent person in the world. Margaret smiled evilly. You're all a bunch of idiots. Sorry, Teacher. We're too stupid and can't meet your requirements. But Teacher is really kind to accept people like us who have trash aptitudes. Nada continued with an apologetic expression. Emerson said, Teacher, we'll work hard. We definitely won't let you down. We all know that the reason why you're so harsh on us to practice magic is because you're afraid that we'll encounter the same kind of disbelief as before. That's right. If it weren't for Teacher's strict teachings, we probably wouldn't have been able to survive in this dangerous forest, Machi continued. The group of students were all talking at once, praising Margaret to the heavens. No matter how harsh she was, how she threw them into the forest to train, made them suffer, and even put them on the verge of death at any time. None of them were angry, and they would even show a grateful look. They would even automatically fill in the gaps in their minds as to why she was doing this. Margaret thought to herself that she was about to go crazy because of these idiotic students. She set up a barrier and threw the students back into the forest. "I'll come and pick you up in a month. Teacher, we won't let you down. Teacher, we will definitely try our best to survive." Margaret, what a headache. Right now, she was going to the Lida Empire. Recently, the continent had been a bit unstable. She thought that the male and female leads had appeared out of nowhere, so she went around to take a look. In the end, she didn't find anything, so she could only come back and train these students. She had just received news from the Queen of the Lida Empire, who was her distant cousin, that her daughter had been born. She hoped that she could go and give her blessings. Eleanor was the only family member she cared about. When she was attacked by enemies, it was Eleanor who had helped her. The other party's little princess, who was her niece, was born. Of course she would go and celebrate. Chapter 55-69. Margaret, everyone, I'm back. Ziyun, Margaret, you've been gone for so long. What have you been doing recently? Mo Yuntian, yeah, we're all worried about you. If it wasn't for your name, we would have thought that something had happened to you. Margaret, I didn't expect you guys to be so worried about me. That's comforting. How infuriating. Those stupid students of mine, every time they speak, they can anger me to death. Shangguan Yungu, Senior Margaret, did you go out to take in students again? Margaret, not this time. I went out because the continent was in turmoil. I thought that the male and female leads would appear, so I went over excitedly. I didn't expect that to be the case. I wanted to come back and teach my students, but I received news from a distant cousin of mine. She's the queen of the Lida Empire. Her daughter, my niece, was born. She wants me to go over and take a look. Here, newborns appear in hopes of getting more people's blessings. Eleanor, my cousin, helped me before. Even if it's far away, I have to go. Qi Xiao, I didn't expect Margaret to have relatives. I thought you were alone. Margaret, you're a little ignorant. Everyone has relatives. Even if they don't have close relatives, they'll have other blood relations. Of course, I don't care about that. Margaret, Eleanor's daughter, who is also my niece, is also a lightning and ice dual-element magic genius. If I wasn't a dark sorcerer, I would have taken her as my student. But she's the most favored princess of the Lida Empire. There should be many powerful lightning and ice sorcerers to teach her. Margaret, by the way, how's the school bell? Shangguan Yungu, uncle has entered the new world. He hasn't come to say hello yet. Maybe he just went over and can't leave. Ziyun, previously, the girl said that she might be able to regain her memories after a few more worlds and return to this world. Margaret, this. I suddenly have a bad feeling. Could it be that the school bell didn't come back to my world after leaving? If that's the case, I must be cursed by the creator of the world. Alan, you don't have to be sad. I'm sad too. Although I was very busy, I often paid attention to the news in the group. This was probably the news that hurt me the most. Harold, isn't that so? We had known the campus belle for a long time, and although we didn't act as if we wanted to see her as much as Marguerite did, we all felt the same way. I thought that we would meet sooner or later, but I didn't expect that she was about to leave the small world and return to her original world, but we still haven't met. Alan, I already feel panic and helplessness. Harold, it's hard to calm down with such sad news. Margaret, that's right. This is so sad. Why did the god of creation curse me? At this time, Tang Guo had already arrived in the new world and finished receiving the memories. This was a world where her entire family's intelligence had been lowered, and in a very strange way. When a man's intelligence is lowered, he will be friendly to the female lead for no reason, thinking that the female lead is the best. When a woman's intelligence is lowered, she will think that the female lead is disgusting and a little vixen. She will want to kill the female lead. She will hate the female lead and even do some extreme things. However, when a woman does these things, the man will usually save her. Chapter 55-70. In this world, Tang Guo was the daughter of the Tang Corporation. However, she had been in the entertainment industry for many years. With her family paving the way for her and her own hard work, she had already won awards for Best Actress and Best Actress. Currently, her position in the industry was stable and she was constantly praised. In this world, she had an older brother named Tang Ting. He was a handsome man. Because the original owner wanted to act and did not want to take over the family business, the responsibility of managing the company fell on Tang Ting. The relationship between the two siblings was very good. If the female lead did not appear, the Tang family would probably continue to be harmonious. Currently, the Tang couple had let go of the power and Tang Ting had secured the position of CEO of the Tang Corporation with his own ability. It could be said that everything was going smoothly. Now, the family was eating. The Tang couple had just returned from their trip. Looking at their son who had lost a lot of weight, they felt a little distressed. "Ah, Ting, eat more. I haven't seen you for only 2 months. How did you lose so much weight?" Mother and Machen was worried. "Don't just focus on the company and ignore your own health." Tang Ting nodded with a smile. "Mom, don't worry. I'm fine. The family doctor comes to check on me every week. If there's something wrong with me, I can't hide it from you. Guo Guo, eat more too. Don't be like your brother. Eat more. Don't be like him." And Machen was fair. She loved both her son and daughter and couldn't bear for any of them to be wronged. Tang Guo quickly ate a few mouthfuls, making Machen laugh. Father Tang, Tang Fengyang, did not say much, but his face was full of smiles. He was satisfied and happy with such a family. "Mom, Dad, Guo Guo, I'm full. Enjoy your meal. I still have things to do at the company. I have a meeting at 3 in the afternoon. I won't be back tonight. There's a dinner that concerns the company's new project. I have to attend." It was not easy for him to find time to come back for lunch. Now that the company was in his hands and was on the rise, he could not be careless. If he could get the project in one fell swoop, the company would definitely reach a higher level. Tang Fengyang and Machen did not stop him. They had been like this when they were young. No matter how much they cared about their son, they could not hinder his growth. "Brother, take me to the dinner party tonight. I don't have anything to do recently, so I want to go with you." Tang Guo suddenly spoke, and the 3 members of the family Tang looked at her. Didn't she hate this kind of dinner party the most? He felt that there were a lot of pleasantries. "Guo Guo, don't you find it troublesome?" Tang Ting was puzzled. Tang Guo rested her chin on her hand. "Brother, you've been so busy recently that you rarely eat at home. I wanted to see what you were busy with." "Don't worry, I won't ruin your plans. Who knows, I might even be able to help you." What Tang Guo said was the truth. She was now a celebrity. If Tang Ting brought her along, it would only be beneficial. "Tang Ting, if you're bored, come with me tonight." He knew his sister very well. Most likely, she felt that he had been staying at home recently and was worried about him, so she planned to follow him to take a look. At the same time, he might be trying to help him. Thinking of this, his gaze became much gentler. He had seen so much outside, but only his family would really care about him. Okay, I'll go to the company to find you in the afternoon. What do you think, brother? Tang Ting had no reason to refuse. After the discussion, he put on his coat and rushed to the company. Chapter 55-71. Tang Guo leisurely finished lunch with the Tang couple. After eating dessert and resting for a while, she said that she wanted to go to the company to take a look. The Tang couple did not stop her. They were happy to see that the siblings were so close, so how could they stop them? When Tang Guo arrived at the company, it was already 5 p.m. She was the heiress of the Tang Corporation, so it was easy for her to get in. She arrived at Tang Ting's office. When she was invited into the office, she found that Tang Ting was not around. He was most likely still busy. After waiting for about 20 minutes, the office door was pushed open and Tang Ting walked in. Brother, are you done with work? I'm almost done. Let's go pick out some clothes and get styled. The moment Tang Ting saw Tang Guo, he felt like he was surrounded by his family's concern. The tiredness of the day instantly disappeared. He walked over and patted Tang Guo's head. How long do you plan to rest for? About a month. I've already turned down a lot of contracts, but there's a reality talent show next month. I'll accept it. When did you become interested in this? Didn't you only want to act in the past and not accept these shows? Why did you suddenly change your mind? Tang Ting's casual words made Tang Guo recall her memories. Yes, the original owner was a drama addict. She only liked to act. She signed with her own company, so no one could force her to do anything else. Moreover, she did not enter this place with a utilitarian heart. She just wanted to act. She had won all those awards because she was too capable. So why did she accept this reality talent show? Because this was the first time she had been brainwashed. She accepted it for no reason. Because she accepted the show, it was very popular online. However, Tang Ting had been very busy recently, so he did not have time to pay attention to these things. Moreover, Tang Guo's position in the industry was very stable, so she did not need too much attention. Moreover, she had not been busy recently, so Tang Ting thought that she had nothing to do. Guo Guo, what's wrong? Tang Ting noticed that something was wrong with Tang Guo. His expression changed. Did someone force you to not accept this show? Thinking of this, Tang Ting could no longer remain calm. Who is it? Tang Guo said, Brother, no. Her brother was quite normal now, but after tonight's dinner, he probably wouldn't be normal anymore. She wanted to see what was going on with her family's collective mental retardation. How could an ordinary person be so capable? Or was there something wrong with the heavenly Tao of this world? She guessed it was the latter. There were so many small worlds, and there were all kinds of things. Is there really no problem? No, I volunteered. Brother, don't think too much. I'm your sister. Who can force me to do something I don't like? Tang Ting thought about it and felt that it made sense. The anger in his heart disappeared. Actually, I've been a little confused these past 2 days. Tang Guo added, Brother, I didn't intend to take on this show before this, but I don't know why, but for some reason, I accepted it. Tang Ting's expression became serious again. He heard Tang Guo say, It's like there's a line of fate that's guiding me to do this, even though it's clearly not something I want to do. If the person in front of him was his sister, Tang Ting might have thought that she was talking nonsense. But this was his biological sister. She definitely wouldn't talk nonsense. Could it be that someone used hypnosis on you? Tang Ting could only think of this. Tang Guo shook her head. I don't think so. Hypnosis can't achieve such an effect. Even though I know that I don't like to take part in that kind of show, I still have no intention of canceling the contract. Tang Ting pursed his lips. His expression didn't relax. Brother, don't think about it. Go get your hair done. I also want to see what kind of tricks this show will pull. I'm the heiress of the Tang family. Nothing will happen to me. When the time comes, I'll hire a few more bodyguards for you. Be careful, Tang Ting said worriedly. Chapter 55-72. Because of Tang Guo's participation, the project discussion at tonight's dinner went smoothly. The main reason was because the boss was a fan of Tang Guo's drama. As soon as he saw Tang Guo, he was extremely excited. Plus, Tang Guo was their choice. As a fan of the drama, the boss did not want to say anything pretentious in front of his idol. Both sides talked according to the procedure. One after another, they were very polite. This was the most successful project that Tang Ting had ever negotiated since he took over the company. Although he was confident that he would be able to work with the other party, he didn't think it would be this easy. After dinner, Tang Guo signed an autograph for the other party. As a fan of the drama, the boss was extremely excited as he held on to the autograph booklet. In the end, he reluctantly left. Before he left, Zhang Wang said, Miss Tang, I heard that you will be filming a reality talent show next month. Is that true? Yes, it's true. Zhang Wang was extremely excited. If my wife knew that you had personally admitted to this, she would definitely be very happy. During the recording next month, she has already made plans to attend the show to support you. Tang Guo did not expect that both husband and wife were fans of her drama. It was a good feeling to have someone like her. She suddenly remembered something. Before she left the house, she had casually stuffed the tickets into her handbag. She had stuffed the tickets into her bag because she suddenly remembered something she wanted to do. She pulled out 2 tickets and handed them to Zhang Wang. This made Zhang Wang even more excited. As soon as he saw the numbers on the tickets, he knew they were in a good spot. Although Zhang Wang wanted to stay a little longer, there wasn't enough time, so he had no choice but to leave in a hurry. As he left, he did not forget to say to Tang Ting, Boss Tang, I hope we can work together for a long time. Tang Ting maintained his smile and nodded. Brother, you didn't lose anything by bringing me along, did you? Tang Ting rubbed his forehead. My sister is too amazing. As your brother, I was shocked. Brother, don't belittle yourself. If President Zhang hadn't already set his sights on Tang Guo, he wouldn't have chosen Tang Guo no matter how much influence I had. The reason why things are going so smoothly is because of Big Brother's strength. My appearance only makes things a little smoother. Tang Ting smiled faintly. What Tang Guo said was indeed true. However, such a smooth dinner without all kinds of pleasantries, beating around the bush, and scheming against each other did indeed make him feel much more relaxed. It's getting late. We should go back, Tang Ting said. Tang Guo thought of something and nodded gently. When Tang Ting was about to pull the door open, she opened it first. At this moment, she felt a strong gust of wind coming from afar. Without even thinking about it, he closed the door. After the door was closed, the sound of a collision was heard, followed by a woman's scream. Tang Ting frowned and hurried to Tang Guo's side. What's wrong? When I was about to go out just now, someone rushed over uncontrollably. I immediately closed the door, Tang Guo said. It was an instinctive reaction. Tang Ting did not think too much about it. If he had encountered such a situation, he would have subconsciously closed the door. He didn't know why, but he instinctively reached out to pull on the door handle. However, Tang Guo was one step ahead of him. Tang Ting stood to the side without a word. He looked at his outstretched hand and furrowed his brows. Why did he lose control of himself and even want to go out and take a look? Especially when he heard the sounds of scolding and a woman crying outside, his heart became anxious. Chapter 55-74. As for Tang Ting's reaction, Tang Gua did not expect it. Knowing that there was nothing wrong with him, Tang Ting thought that it might be a coincidence, so he did not persist. On the other side, Ai Xianwan, who was originally working in a high-end restaurant because of her good image, had fallen on the slippery floor. At night, the floor was too slippery, so she didn't pay attention. She was carrying a tray of dishes, and even though they were cold dishes, she still almost bumped into the customers. Fortunately, the customer reacted quickly and closed the door in an instant. Otherwise, a disaster would have happened. The manager apologized to the customer and scolded her. After taking her away, he scolded her for half an hour. She felt very wronged. Actually, she could not be blamed for this. It was because the floor was too slippery. She was wrong, but was the person in charge of cleaning the floor not wrong? However, she was very paid and did not dare to complain. She could only let the manager scold her. Fortunately, she was not fired, but her salary was deducted, which made her feel very sad. However, she would not admit defeat. She, Ai Xianwan, could also rely on her own ability to make a name for herself. The Jing family looked down on her and thought that she was not worthy of Jing Hong. She had to rely on her own efforts to show the Jing family that she, Ai Xianwan, was not the kind of person who clung to the rich and powerful. The day she stood up, the Jing family would understand. When she returned home, Ai Xianwan was still very sad. The Jing family thought that her family background was not good and looked down on her. Although Jing Hong liked her, she still could not stand the way those people looked at her. Therefore, she took the initiative to break up and then hid far away. If they were fated to meet, they would meet again in the future. President Jing, this is what happened. The assistant had already told Jing Hong about Ai Xianwan's situation. Looking at Jing Hong's expression, he did not know what to say. Jing Hong, let her be. Let them know that they don't have to take care of her, but they can't bully her either. There have been a lot of things recently. Let me deal with these things first. At this time, it is better for her if we part ways temporarily. Otherwise, she will be in trouble. Alright, Chief Jing. By the way, I heard that Miss AI has already signed up for a reality talent show. Is that? Jing Hong did not like his woman to go out and show her face in public. When he heard this, he did not look very happy. The reason why he allowed Ai Xianwan to work was because there were many things that were difficult to handle at the moment. He needed to focus on these things and could not take care of Ai Xianwan for the time being. Don't worry about it. When she suffers, she'll know that it's better to be by my side. That circle doesn't suit her. Understood, Chief Jing. In the blink of an eye, it was the second month. Tang Ting no longer suspected that he was sick. He only thought that it was a coincidence that day, so he did not take it to heart. Tang Gua had to go to the production team. Basically, every episode of the show was recorded and broadcast. She went to the program as a judge. There were a total of 3 judges and she was one of them. Because she was the most famous and powerful, even though she was the youngest, she was arranged to sit in the center. As the newcomers passed and were eliminated one by one, she finally saw Ai Xianwan appear on the stage. To be able to appear on this stage meant that she had been selected carefully. No matter what, she had to have some skills. This Ai Xianwan was indeed powerful, but she was not very outstanding. She was not suppressed by some rules. Maybe it was because of her female lead halo, or maybe it was because she had a good image. Ai Xianwan was performing a dance. She had some dancing skills, and her appearance was like a pure little white flower. At first glance, people would feel pity for her. In the original plot, the original host did not know why, but when she saw Ai Xianwan, she felt disgusted. She felt that she was pretentious and disgusting. Therefore, her judgment was very sharp and she made people cry. Chapter 55-75. When the Ai Xianwan cried, many people felt pity for her. Adding on the fact that she had always been humble, even if she cried, she gave people a weak and strong feeling. Her words did not reveal any dissatisfaction towards the previous host. The previous host became more and more disgusted by her actions, so her words became more and more impolite. She could not control herself at all. The first episode left an impression that the previous host could not tolerate newcomers. Backstage, the Ai Xianwan humbly asked the previous host for advice. The previous host disdained to talk to her because she could not hold back the anger in her heart when she looked at the Ai Xianwan, so her words were sharp and fierce. The Ai Xianwan was the type of person who would easily cry when others spoke to her. If others saw her, they would think that the previous host was bullying her. But speaking of which, the previous host's words were a bit fierce, but what she said was completely reasonable. What she pointed out was the Ai Xianwan's weakness. If it was like this, it was not a big problem. The problem was that the previous host's pursuer came to the set and happened to see the Ai Xianwan crying in front of the previous host. He could not help but say a few words to comfort her. Newcomers were all like this. Not only that, he even gave the Ai Xianwan a tissue and comforted her. This made the previous host angry. This pursuer could come to the set to see her, but without her permission, would he be able to come? Letting him come meant that she was already considering this person. In the end, this person actually asked after the Ai Xianwan. Not only did he help her say a few words, he also comforted her gently. This was a slap to her face. Then, the previous host went on the path of targeting the Ai Xianwan. Her pursuer completely stood by the Ai Xianwan's side and helped the Ai Xianwan in various ways, allowing her to be like a fish in water in the industry. This made the previous host faint from anger. In the previous host's eyes, wasn't the Ai Xianwan stepping on her to get to the top? She wanted to expose the Ai Xianwan's actions, but she never thought that her pursuer would stop her and smear her name. He even said that he had already seen the true face of the original owner, so he gave up. Tang Ting would not bully his own sister, but he would still help Ai Xianwan if she needed his help. As the original owner, how could she endure this? Tang Guo watched the Ai Xianwan dance and fell into deep thought. How was she going to comment later? Why don't I praise her? Anyway, she didn't debut as a dance professional and had never performed in front of others. In other people's eyes, she wasn't a professional to begin with. That was because the final part of the talent show was the selection of actors. At the beginning of the talent show, it was just the selection of actors. After the Ai Xianwan dance ended, the other two judges gave their comments, and the camera fell on Tang Guo. Tang Guo smiled. You look like a beautiful angel, and your performance is not bad. Ai Xianwan shuddered. Facing Tang Guo's smile, she didn't feel very good. She felt that there was something hidden in that smile. Thank you for your praise, teacher. As a newcomer, I don't think I'm that good. Teacher must be comforting me, but I will work hard to improve. Tang Guo, I believe in you. Ai Xianwan felt that it shouldn't be like this. She pursed her lips, but didn't know what to say. Tang Guo seemed to be very supportive of her and liked her very much, which really made her panic. She knew that Tang Guo was a popular actress. She should be happy to be praised by her. But she wasn't happy at all. She felt that Tangua's smile was full of mockery. "Teacher, please point out my shortcomings." AI Xianwan held the microphone and said nervously, "I know that I'm not perfect, but I hope to hear the truth from teacher." Chapter 55-76. The other two judges couldn't help but frown. It was fine as long as she passed. This was a recording of a show, not a real classroom discussion. What was wrong with AI Xianwan? Wasn't she deliberately making things difficult for her? Tangua said, "I'm not a professional when it comes to dancing. If you need to be pointed out, it's best to ask a professional teacher for advice. I think you should be more professional than me in this aspect." AI Xianwan opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. She felt that if she continued like this today, she would leave a bad impression on the audience. However, she didn't know what to say to such a stubborn Tangua. If she continued to pester her, it would be even worse for her. Hence, she could only bow and thank her. "Thank you, teacher." AI Xianwan went down. She planned to go backstage later to ask Tangua for advice from this famous actress. After all, she was going to be in the entertainment industry in the future. If she didn't ask for advice on dancing, she would ask for advice on acting. After this talent show, it would be their turn to perform. There shouldn't be anything wrong with asking for advice, right? However, Tangua left after the recording. She left very quickly and AI Xianwan didn't even have a chance to get close to her. This show was recorded once a week. In other words, AI Xianwan would only be able to see Tangua the next week. Just as Tangua expected, after the first broadcast of the show, many audience members didn't have a good impression of AI Xianwan. It wasn't like the original script where the poor AI Xianwan was a girl who worked hard but was mercilessly criticized by the judges. AI Xianwan was in a bad mood when she saw that some people were saying bad things about her on the bullet screen. She subconsciously thought that Tangua was making things difficult for her. If it weren't for Tangua, she wouldn't have encountered so many bad comments. There were even people who commented on her Weibo, saying that she was a green onion. The second episode of the show was recorded as promised. This time, the people who passed were divided into groups and assigned roles to act out a scene. Tangua and the other judges were all actors, so this time they would personally teach them how to act, help them choose the script, and choose suitable roles. AI Xianwan was looking forward to being chosen by Tangua. No matter what, Tangua's acting was very professional. When the students were discussing in private, someone asked AI Xianwan which judge she wanted. She said, "I like teacher Tangua very much, but she doesn't seem to like me very much. I don't know if I'll be chosen by her." When the other students heard this, for some reason, they subconsciously felt that Tangua was targeting AI Xianwan and felt that it was unfair for her. Until AI Xianwan went on stage and said that she wanted to perform with Tangua, but was rejected by Tangua. AI Xianwan was embarrassed. "I don't know what I did wrong. Why didn't the teacher choose me?" When this question was asked, coupled with her image, people subconsciously felt that AI Xianwan was being targeted by Tangua. However, Tangua's words dispelled this idea. "You're very good, very outstanding. Whether it's your appearance or your attitude, they're both very good." AI Xianwan, why didn't she feel that way? "However, the script I chose this time is very different from your image. It's because your image is too good that I can't choose you." AI Xianwan was not convinced. "Teacher, I think that as an actor, no matter what role it is, the actor has to be integrated into it. A good actor should be able to play any role. You can't deny it just because of your image." Tangua tapped her fingers on the table. She was also a little confused. Was this AI Xianwan smart and calculative, or was she stupid and sweet? "Are you willing to play a shameless person?" A cripple with a face full of pockmarks. AI Xianwan's expression did not look good. Of course not. If she played this role at the beginning, she would be labeled as such. When she became an actress in the future, she would not be able to redeem her image. Some high-end endorsements would not even look for her. Some high-end gowns would also not choose her. They would feel that she was degrading her image. Also, if she chose a role as a beauty, people would immediately think of her as a shameless person, a cripple, and a face full of pockmarks. But when she thought about it, she felt uncomfortable. Even if you agree, us teachers will not agree. Your image is good, so of course you have to choose a suitable role, Tang Guo continued. Finally, AI Xianwan heaved a sigh of relief. She quickly took the microphone and said, "Thank you for the reminder, teacher." Tang Guo pursed her lips and smiled. She hid her merit and reputation. She knew how to destroy AI Xianwan's ability to lower other people's IQ. As long as she did not let the other party get what she wanted, it would be fine. Chapter 55-77. Perhaps it was because AI Xianwan was the female lead, or perhaps it was because the conversation between her and Tang Guo was longer, so the production team needed to use Tang Guo to hype things up. Therefore, her scenes were basically not cut out. Thus, the conversation between AI Xianwan and Tang Guo in the second episode was seen by the live audience. In the beginning, some people sympathized with AI Xianwan and thought that Tang Guo was targeting AI Xianwan. As the conversation continued, they realized what was going on. Wasn't choosing a person a two-way choice? Tang Guo didn't choose AI Xianwan, so she was targeting you. Bullying you. Wasn't this way of thinking too ridiculous? Through the screen, although AI Xianwan's halo had some influence, anyone with a brain would quickly see the true colors of AI Xianwan under Tang Guo's lead. AI Xianwan's face turned pale when she saw the reaction after the show was broadcasted. She clearly didn't do anything. All she did was ask Tang Guo why she didn't choose her. How could these people be so imaginative? Was it wrong for her to ask for the reason? AI Xianwan felt that she was being targeted. If she wasn't being targeted, why were there so many ghostwriters scolding her on the bullet screen? She was just an ordinary person who had just appeared. She didn't offend anyone at all. Why would these people say that about her? Yes, she was being targeted by ghostwriters. After thinking about this possibility, AI Xianwan immediately tried to recall if she had offended anyone. Instantly, Tang Guo's face appeared in her mind. She struggled. Could it really be that Tang Guo was targeting her? Why was she targeting her? AI Xianwan felt that Tang Guo was being too much of a bully. She felt very wronged and didn't know what to do for a moment. Tang Guo was a veteran in the industry. What could she do if she hired ghostwriters to slander her? She had no power, no influence, and no money. She couldn't resist at all. She could only grit her teeth and swallow this matter. If she rashly resisted, the other party might even suppress her. She had to endure hardships until the day she stood out. When her wings were fully grown, no one would dare to bully her. Tang Guo had no idea what AI Xianwan was thinking at all. Recently, she had been filming a reality show. For the time being, she hadn't chosen any other scripts. She had rejected the invitations of some acquaintances. She also paid attention to the situation of the Tang family so that they wouldn't be accidentally tricked by AI Xianwan. She could tell that AI Xianwan had her own ideas, but she wasn't very smart. It was just that the heavenly Tao had given her a strange halo that was a little disgusting. Unfortunately, this halo was a power that couldn't be captured, so it could only be worn down in this way. Usually, a world like this was not complete. It could be derived from a game or a virtual world. It was not perfect. Therefore, the heavenly Tao didn't have the final say on who to choose as the child of destiny to support this world. If AI Xianwan's aura was worn down, she would lose her identity as the child of destiny. Then, the heavenly Tao would be free. Without the child of destiny to support this storyline, this world would naturally stabilize. This was what the system had said at the beginning. After killing the male and female leads, the world would collapse. Because when their aura was still present, they were the supporting point of this world. They were the main characters of the story. Of course, they couldn't be killed. Of course, there were still some special worlds that were exceptions. The recording of the third episode began. Chapter 55-78. It was now time for the second scene. When the second episode ended, AI Xianwan still did not manage to intercept Tanguo. The recording of the third episode was more complicated. There were more actors and it was more complicated, so the recording time was changed to 2 days. Because it was set up outside the venue, the students and the judges were not separated like before. AI Xianwan had more opportunities to interact with Tanguo. She did not manage to intercept Tanguo the previous 2 times, so when she saw Tanguo this time, she quickly chased after her to ask. Even though Tanguo was not in charge of her. The strange thing was that her actions did not satisfy the others. Although Tanguo was busy with her work, she still observed AI Xianwan from time to time. She realized that no one had noticed her sudden departure, as if they had subconsciously ignored her. This was a halo, right? It could cover up all the bad things about a person. Of course, this halo was strong and weak at the same time. As long as someone reminded it, it would immediately burst like a bubble. Miss Tang, can I ask you a few questions? AI Xianwan came in front of Tanguo and suppressed the grievance in her heart. She clearly did not do anything to offend the woman in front of her, so why was she targeting her and not liking her? What's the problem? Can we talk after it's over? Tanguo refused, of course. Everyone was busy at this time. If she stopped, wouldn't she be making the students in charge wait? She really did not know what was in this AI Xianwan's head. Miss Tang, I really just want to ask a few questions. Just 10 minutes, is that okay? After being rejected, AI Xianwan could not help but tear up. She looked at Tanguo pitifully, as if Tanguo was bullying her. When the staff saw this, they could not help but persuade her, Miss Tang, it won't take long. Why don't you give her some time? Yes, it's only 10 minutes. I think this little girl is about to cry. Tanguo glanced at the kind-hearted faces of the 2 staff members, then looked at the uneasy and red-eyed AI Xianwan standing not far behind her. She even saw some commotion among the students who were busy. It was as if this wasn't a difficult task at all. Instead, they felt that she was being a little unreasonable. She did not blame these people. The world was not dark, and these people naturally had their flaws. It should be said that they were the predecessors of the 2D characters, and it was easy for them to serve the main character in the story. Whatever reaction the protagonist needed from the people around him, they would react accordingly. Prepare the script, rehearse, and record. We only have 2 days left. Time is very tight. If the final result is delayed because of other things and you don't get a good ranking, will you be willing? Tanguo's words were like a bucket of water being poured over their heads, instantly waking up everyone present. Classmate AI Xianwan, I've already said that if you have any questions, please wait until you're done with your work, okay? We have so many people here. Are we supposed to wait for you alone? Also, don't you need to rehearse? Look at those couples of yours. They're so busy that they're going crazy. Tanguo's voice seemed to have a penetrating power, and it alarmed the people on the other side. When they saw AI Xiangwan, someone called out, "Ao Xiangwan, what are you doing over there? Are you done memorizing your lines? We're about to start rehearsing." "AI Xiangwan, can you not walk around at a time like this? If we can't find you later, won't we be wasting everyone's time? If you feel that you can't remember your lines, you can change roles with other students who have fewer lines. I think the teachers will agree." AI Xiangwan. Chapter 55-79. The AI Xiangwan felt embarrassed after being stared at by countless strange gazes. She pretended to be on the verge of tears and walked back as if she had been bullied. The people around her were speechless. Who was she trying to impress with this attitude? Even the staff members looked at each other. They had interacted with AI Xiangwan several times. Weren't they very clear about her attitude? She kept getting close to movie queen Tang. She definitely had a bad motive. Why did they speak up for her just now? It was really strange. "Sister Tang, we're really sorry about just now." The two staff members hurriedly apologized. They were puzzled by their behavior. They shouldn't have helped AI Xiangwan, right? They had seen it countless times, but they still fell for her tricks. Tanghua saw that the two staff members were reflecting and felt gratified. It was good that they started to reflect. This meant that the chances of being influenced by AI Xiangwan in the future were getting smaller. This AI Xiangwan, I don't know why she always likes to get close to Teacher Tang. It's really strange. I felt that she was wrong just now. I had the same feeling too. Fortunately, I woke up. She did that on purpose. She secretly showed her dissatisfaction with Teacher Tang. Teacher Tang didn't choose her. Does she feel uncomfortable? Listening to the students' discussion, Tanguo felt that the chances of them being influenced next time would be much lower. She had to admit that although AI Xiangwan made many people unhappy just now, she still completed her work well. She completed her work seriously. The others seemed to have forgotten what happened before and started to praise her. AI Xiangwan didn't forget their complaints, impatience, and aggressive expressions. She felt wronged. She didn't do anything. She just wanted to ask Tanghua a few questions. Why did Tanghua put on such an attitude to ostracize her and make everyone hate her? AI Xiangwan hid in a corner and wiped her tears with red eyes. This industry was really different from what she thought. It was so complicated. The people here wanted to curry favor with the rich and powerful. In order to support those who were famous, they chose to step on a nobody like her. Ning Ran walked in with fresh flowers, and the first thing he saw was AI Xiangwan, who was sitting in the corner and wiping tears from her eyes. He looked into the distance and saw the dazzling Tanghua standing in the crowd. This was the person he had pursued for a long time. Back then, she had many pursuers by her side, but he was the only one who could persist for a long time and not be rejected by her. Yesterday, he had called her and said that he would come to see her today. She didn't refuse, which made him very happy because his hard work had paid off. Originally, he should have quickly walked over, placed the beautiful flowers in her hands, and watched her get off work. However, his gaze was involuntarily attracted to the AI Xiangwan in the corner. The more lively the other side was, the more desolate this side was. AI Xiangwan's lonely appearance made him feel a little uncomfortable. Tanghua in the distance was a delicate and beautiful flower. AI Xiangwan sitting here was like a little white flower being blown by the wind and rain. It made one's heart ache. Ning Ran struggled in his heart. At this moment, he suddenly realized that his love for Tanghua didn't seem to be so hot. She said so proudly, glamorously, and high above. She didn't need his existence in her life at all. He thought about his efforts in the past year, but he was only allowed to come and visit. Chapter 5580. Her chin was raised so high that people couldn't see her eyes. Ningran felt a little inferior in front of her. Ningran held the flowers tightly and finally walked in front of Ai Xianwan. What's the matter? Why are you crying alone? Did you get wronged? The sudden voice made Ai Xianwan panic. The moment she saw Ningran, she became even more nervous. No, nothing. Ai Xianwan said in a low voice, maybe I didn't do well enough and dragged everyone down. It's not their fault. I didn't work hard enough. If I worked harder, I would have done better with everyone. Then I wouldn't be so annoying. Everyone was once a normal person. I've seen your show. You're actually very outstanding. You. Ai Xianwan suddenly felt that the face in front of her was very familiar. She quickly recognized who it was and quickly stood up. Are you Movie King Ning? Ning Ran replied, just call me Brother Ning or Brother Ran. Ai Xianwan stuttered, Brother Ning, thank you Brother Ning. What kind of trouble have you encountered? Why are you all alone here? Can you tell me? Ai Xianwan lowered her head. I don't know why, but everyone doesn't like me anymore. I only went to ask Teacher Tang a few questions, but many people didn't like me. Teacher Tang doesn't seem to like me either. I don't know what I did to offend her. But Teacher Tang doesn't want to talk to me. I can't find my mistakes. Ning Ran frowned when he heard this. She's just like that. You don't have to worry about it. In this industry, she's always been someone who does whatever she wants. But I really want to understand why Teacher Tang doesn't like me. If I don't understand, I won't be satisfied. Madam Host, Ai Xianwan is bad-mouthing you again. She even looks so wronged. Disgusting. Oh right, Ning Ran seems to have been affected by her halo. Ning Ran might have been affected by her halo, but I'm sure that Ning Ran didn't like the original owner that much. Ning Ran was going to come today. He had informed her yesterday. She had been paying attention to the situation outside. If Ning Ran was completely bewitched and did something against his conscience like the Tang Ting, she wouldn't mind helping him. She had seen Ning Ran's reaction the entire time. If Ning Ran's intentions weren't that pure, then it had nothing to do with her. Even if the IQ of the family was affected by the Ai Xianwan, no one in the family was willing to hurt the original owner. Ning Ran and Ai Xianwan had already arrived. Xiao Gua. You wait here for a while, it's still a bit busy here. Tang Gua said in a businesslike manner, her tone was no different from the original owner. Logically speaking, Ning Ran should understand that her time was tight. It was best to wait here without disturbing her. But Ning Ran didn't. He stood beside Tang Gua and said, You've been busy for so long. Take a break for 10 minutes. We can talk. Tang Gua didn't even turn her head. There are so many people here, and I'm asking them to wait for me. The students are all ready. How can I have the nerve to talk to them and ask them to wait over there? Since I'm taking over this show, I naturally have to be responsible. I have to do my best to help them film a good film and get them a good ranking. Tang Gua's words weren't wrong at all. At least the staff and students were very touched. Actually, they didn't mind Tang Gua talking to Ning Ran for a while, but Ning Ran's indifferent attitude made them dislike him. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.